A man accidentally drilled a tree hole into his own leg using a tree digger. The arriving firefighters were momentarily stunned by what they saw. His wife explained that her husband had been using the machine to dig a hole for planting a tree, but somehow his leg got caught. Thankfully, their dog's frantic barking alerted her in time to call for help. The firefighters quickly shut off the machine while paramedics began administering IV fluids and painkillers. The man's lower leg was twisted like a pretzel, leaving everyone wincing in shock. The firefighters warned him that despite the painkillers, the process would still hurt, urging him to brace himself.
Okay. Ready? On 3, 2, 1. Almost there. Almost there. Okay, clear. Grab the speed split.
The team carefully removed the tree digger and stabilized his leg with a splint before loading him onto the ambulance. As they drove off, the man's dog broke free and chased after the ambulance. They noticed through the rearview mirror and pulled over. Thanks to its warning barks, the man managed to save his leg. I can't help but wonder, why stop the ambulance? Shouldn't getting the bro to the hospital take priority? This might just be the first time firefighters had to rescue their own teammates. One crew member sustained a severe eye injury. The captain quickly opened the side door of the fire truck, letting the lightly injured climb out first before going in to assist those with more serious injuries. Fortunately, one of the drivers wasn't badly hurt, just dazed from the crash. The other driver wasn't as lucky. He suffered a severe head injury, was pinned in his seat, his pulse was dangerously weak.
I'll take care of him, okay? Take a seat over here.
Why don't you guys learn how to drive? I mean, damn, Lieutenant, what the hell?
Get out of the way.
No, I'm not going anywhere.
Seriously, you're looking a little pale. Come on, take a seat.
One by one, the firefighters were rescued and rushed to the hospital.
You did this, you son of a bitch! You did this!
An investigation revealed the crash happened because they ran a red light. But if fire trucks stopped at every red light, how could they save lives? So what do you think? If a fire truck runs a red light and causes an accident, how should responsibility be assigned? A man was found dangling from a streetlight pole, with the outdoor temperature plunging to -40 degrees Celsius. The scene left firefighters momentarily stunned. They placed a ladder below him. One firefighter climbed up to inspect the man's legs.
Is he even alive?
He's alive! He's still breathing!
He considered sawing through the pole directly, but realized the angle made it impossible. Another firefighter ascended the aerial ladder, secured the man with a safety rope, then took the electric saw from his colleague to cut through the streetlight pole from above. With the team's coordinated efforts, the man was safely lowered to the ground. Strangely, the man kept muttering the word banana, leaving everyone confused. They decided to transport him to the hospital first. Back at the fire station, the crew continued speculating about what banana could mean.
What does banana mean?
You know where they grow bananas? Colombia. But these cartels get pretty creative with distributors who don't hold up their end of the deal.
So that's what banana meant. I honestly thought it was something else entirely. An arrow pierced through a man's neck. He lay on the ground, convulsing uncontrollably. At an archery range, a crowd had gathered around a so-called expert, but when emergency responders arrived, they found this expert on the ground, unable to speak as he spasmed in pain. A responder called for a power saw and the tools bag. While aware of the risks of vibrations worsening the injury, there was no other option. They used a suction device to clear blood from the man's mouth, preventing choking during the procedure. Then they carefully clamped the arrow with pliers to minimize movement and shielded his eyes with a towel before starting the cut. As soon as the saw buzzed to life, the man groaned in agony. They immediately halted. The vibrations had caused subcutaneous emphysema, with air bubbles pressing dangerously on his throat. They used bandages to wrap around the neck, sealing the air leaks on both sides. With the improvised fix in place, they resumed cutting and successfully shortened the arrow. Finally, the man was stabilized and rushed to the hospital. The woman was folded up like a three-fold smartphone, curled tightly in the passenger seat of the crash vehicle. No matter how beautiful you are, never rest your feet on the dashboard. If the car gets rear-ended, you could end up like this woman.
It's like the airbag sent her knees into her face.
Broken nose, blunt force trauma to both eyes, open compound fracture to the femur.
Could be a bilateral break. Could also have a cervical or hip fracture.
Forget the traction splint. I'll get the KED from the rig.
If she's bleeding internally, we've got 5 minutes before she crashes.
To make matters worse, the SUV above began to press down. Under the secondary crushing pressure, the woman screamed in unbearable pain. Firefighters quickly stabilized the vehicles. A tow truck was brought in to pull the lower car backward, while a fire truck used chains to pull the SUV forward, finally moving the SUV off her. They swiftly removed the car door, and the woman was successfully rescued. A car was left half suspended in midair. On a high-rise parking lot, the driver crashed through a railing while fighting for a parking spot. Below, falling debris struck another car, leaving the driver's condition uncertain. Suddenly, a metal sheet fell from above, forcing firefighters to retreat. Both the crushed car below and the hanging car above were extremely hazardous. The team had to act on both fronts, towing the car below and stabilizing the one above. On the rooftop, they secured the vehicle with chains, while a firefighter broke a window and climbed in to rescue the driver. The car swung like a pendulum as the firefighter quickly got the driver out. Meanwhile, the ladder crew below safely removed the trapped car.
1, 2, go! Watch out!
Firefighters then pried open a door and rescued 2 women. Their seamless teamwork ensured a perfectly timed rescue. A 16-year-old high school student gave birth to a strange creature at home without a head or limbs. The paramedic explained that it was an amniotic sac, the baby was still inside. The key was to cut it open quickly, or the baby might suffocate, but the sac was incredibly tough. Thankfully, a colleague had prepared a scalpel. As the sac was cut open, the amniotic fluid began to flow out. The baby had been deprived of oxygen for too long and was already breathless. Despite immediate resuscitation efforts, the baby showed no signs of life. To make matters worse, the emergency kit was missing the necessary delivery tools. The previous shift had clearly forgotten to restock them. In this critical moment, the paramedic pulled out a syringe. Though it wasn't a professional tool, it was better than nothing. She quickly suctioned the amniotic fluid from the baby's mouth and used an elastic band to clamp the umbilical cord. Thankfully, the baby's will to live was strong. After some intense resuscitation, a faint breath was heard, though the baby was still in danger. Immediate transport to the hospital was essential. They slammed the gas pedal to the floor, racing toward the hospital at breakneck speed. Under the care of professional doctors, the baby gradually regained health. However, the next day, the baby was found in a storage box at the fire station. Everyone was stunned. Wasn't the baby already healthy? Why was it here? The paramedic took the baby back to the hospital, only to find out that the mother had already been discharged. When they visited the girl's home, her mother explained that the girl had been deceived by her boyfriend. After suffering emotional and physical trauma, she couldn't face raising the child.
Amber has no interest in being a mother. She was here about an hour ago, took off to be with her dad in Indiana for a while. Get away from that idiot ex-boyfriend she has here.
Why didn't she leave the baby with you?
Honey, I already had one baby girl and she was more than enough trouble for me.
Her mother lamented her own failure in parenting, not wanting her daughter's mistakes to repeat with the next generation. In cases where parents are irresponsible, it is the children who suffer.